every now and then, almost every season, there is an anime that's pretty much a hidden gem, one that no one's talking about. I mean, no one's talking about. Not even people like Ginka or even Crunchyroll or My Anime List. They'll mention it, but they don't really talk about it. And it has to take up people who are niche watchers to mention this anime and to call it out. Like, hey, why did you talk about this? This is pretty interesting. This is pretty unique. And it's not that it's unique because it's never been done before. It's unique because it hasn't been done in a long, long time. Turkey, Time to Strike. It's a very peculiar, interesting, subvert expectations kind of anime where it takes an old storytelling of anime way back in the 80s and 90s and bring it to the modern era with a twist about a hobby, a sport. Back in the day, when I said back in the day, when original isekais were a thing, but they weren't a big thing, most of the times it was a female character or a group of female characters going to the past or a certain time period, and they were there as helpless because they were going through a modern problem. And then, as time goes on, as they go on a little adventure, they learn a lot about themselves and the people around them, and they have a new perspective, a new lease on life. So they most of the times go back to their original time zone, or they stay, rarely stay, and they become a better person. They have a better outlook. They are more mature. They're ready to face on tomorrow. And that's the entire point. Most isekais, or where the character that's traveling to a different world or a time period, most of the times is based off Alice in Wonderland. She goes to Wonderland to have a self-reflection. She's facing her trauma, her past, and when she wakes up, she becomes a better person. That's the point of Alice in Wonderland, you know. But a lot of people took that concept and they completely went screwy with it as time goes on. And now, it's good to see it return to form, in a way. This is about a bowling club, and the captain is Mai. Mai is a girl who's really good at bowling. She's been wanting to bowl since she was a little kid. And you find why she's so obsessed with it as time goes on throughout the story. But she puts the enjoyment of her team members more than anything, even over winning competitions. All that matters to her is that she enjoys bowling with her friends, and that is it. Don't care about winning, she's just in it for love of the game, and that is it. But even despite that, the fact that they never win a competition was very alarming to a junior named Rena. Rena is the collision, the conflict person of interest that you usually have in anime. The Sasuke to the Naruto and stuff, the Vegeta to the Goku and everything. That kind of person. Rena is the exact opposite of Mai. She's shorter, she's younger, she's blue haired, and she wants to win. She really does want to win. And her obsession of actually wanting to take this seriously is for good reasons, but it will take time for you to understand. Like I said, these kind of animes back in the day were about character development, extreme character development. In this one, she wanted to win so badly, but Mai never took it seriously. So she was like, hey, if you're not going to take it seriously, I'm going to quit the club. So Mai was like, okay, don't quit the club. What can I do to keep you to stay? If you beat me in a competition, I will stay. If you don't, I will leave. So they bowled one more time until a storm was happening and the ball started to glow. And then they were all transported into the Sengoku era period of Japan. One of the most brutal time periods in Japan to ever happen, where famine and disease and war struck the land all over the place, and you didn't have any good hygiene or could have money, poverty stricken. It was a crazy time to be alive back in the day. You could one day walk around and find a dead body. You could wake up one day in your backyard and there's a battle going on. So they wake up in this period and they see the harsh realization that they find themselves into. And in order to pretty much survive this period, they have to come together and use their brains and most of the times luck to get themselves out of these situations. The thing I like about this anime is the realization the realism that's being put into the story. These girls don't all of a sudden become heroes. They don't all of a sudden they solve everyone's problems and their ideology is enforced upon the land. No, they learn that not everything is black and white. Not everything can go your way. They also meet 5 other girls in this peculiar village that are run by these 5 girls. There are no guys running the village because of the father could never birth a male, so it was up to these 5 girls to run the village. Mainly just one, but either way, it was their duty to take on. One had disguised themselves as a boy, one hidden himself, one was just a little girl who didn't like performers, one just ran off forsaking their responsibilities, and one is waiting to be married until she hits a certain period of her life in order to get married. So each one has their own problems in order to forsake the village, and the girls have to reflect upon their lives. The girls pretty much have things going on in their lives that they're not ready to confront, but when they see what the other girls from this period are going through, they realize how mediocre their problems are compared to the others. But at the same time, they learn that just because someone's problems are bigger than yours, does that mean yours are not that significant either. You were born in that certain time period, so of course things will be a lot easier for you, so therefore your problems will be kind of minuscule compared to someone else's problems. And because of that, she realizes, yeah. So Mayu and herself, you usually, for instance, we usually play an isekai, and watch an isekai. The main character goes to another world, and he sees their slavery happening. He immediately becomes extremely powerful, has all the women, and he immediately abolishes slavery. Makes it so simple, so easy. He's just creating his empire with ease. This average guy who was a loser in his previous life is all of a sudden a winner in this life. So it's like, how did that happen? Wow, you skipped a couple of steps here, my friend. That makes no sense. So with this one, it's not like that. They're like, hey, they see something that's wrong in this time period and they confront it. They're like, I understand what you're saying, but that's just not how things are rolling right now, and they don't have the power all of a sudden to stop it. They do come up with an idea to help them to pretty much live on their own, but that's it. They don't become prosperous or anything like that. It's just, hey, here's this idea, you can do this. If you do this thing right here, you'll be able to make a living on your own. They're not changing the entire ideal of the nation or anything like that. They're not winning wars. In fact, majority of the period of the show, they're still in that village and they're keeping themselves hidden from outsiders so no one get any suspicions. They're like typical anime where you see this girl who's just wearing interesting clothing and stuff like that, and everyone's looking at them. It's like, it's peculiar, but there's nothing going on. No, they made sure they stay themselves hidden from the outside so nothing happens. And then the day, these are defenseless girls. I love, like I said, the realism, the thought that was put into the story. It wasn't like everything else you would see most of the times. And I did enjoy that a lot. Like, okay, these girls are helpless. They're not miracle workers. They're not strategists who can win out a plan. Heck, even towards the end of the series, where they do come back to save the other 5 girls from that period, they don't have a strategy where they're overcoming this army like they do in those early 90s kids movies where the kids would always beat the bad guys with their very simplistic plans for somehow. They can trick these bad guys who have years of military or mercenary training, losing to these kids with a pure dumb luck. Now, this is this is a show where they don't really have the upper hand, but they're pretty much have a chance because the other side pities them. That's right, they pity them. But it doesn't mean the other side won't counter their strategy in return, which they're literally winning by the skin of their teeth, by luck, by not even believing themselves, just by pure freaking luck. That's all I gotta say. And it's that I know this anime short is underrated, but it's just that there's so much I want to say about it that I do appreciate they brought into this anime. The opening itself shows how dark the show can get. It's not that dark, but things do happen in it where you have to face reality. You have to wake up. But just because you're in this reality doesn't mean you can't try to do something. But even if you do try to do something, does not mean it's always going to come out your way. Which I love. They put that point really beforehand. Like, yeah, you're good, but doesn't mean it's going to happen your way. You got to make sure you are prepared for the consequences. And it's just, at the end of the day, it was just a very good, a great show that nobody talked about. The show immediately subverted your expectation because you thought it was just going to be this cute girls doing cute things, where a group of girls just about to bowl and that's it. But no, it's them time traveling, being in this terrible time period, facing reality, growing up, learning the problems, coming back with a plan that barely worked. And then that twist at the end. My God, that twist at the end, like it was, and it came out of nowhere. It made sense. She was talking about the twist every here and there. Well, you didn't know it was a twist that my son was talking about, but at the end, where she read the letter at the end and realized what was going on, why is she the way she is? Like, yo, this was good. This was Hidden Gem. Is it my top 10? No. But is my top 20? Probably so. Probably so. Top 20. What the heck? But yeah, it's definitely going to be my top 20. This was a very interesting take of, like, it was an old concept of anime with a very twist of bowling in the end. As bowling is all they knew what to do in order to win these situations. I'm sorry, I can't. It sounds ridiculous because it is, but at the same time, it's able to pull you in if you just give it a chance. If you're not just into just shonen or mystery, but you are into lifestyle, slice of life, and also some bit of realism, this is definitely for you. The only thing they never question is how come these bowling balls are able to send people into the past. As you learn throughout the show, they're not the only ones who were traveling towards the past. Other people were doing it too. So why and how? How is it that these people are able to travel through the past? What is going on in this world that allows people to go into this time period and to see and do things and return back home? I like to know what's going on. Who knows? Altogether, this was good. The animation was okay. The music was good, especially for certain settings and themes that happened throughout the show. Artwork was pretty unique and interesting. They have this very cute girl doing cute things, but yet in a very unsettling area. Good job. So all around together, this was a definitely. I give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Some things were kind of disappointing of how my high expectations were into it, but maybe I was going too dark in it. But then again, that opening made you think things were about to go that dark. In a way, they kind of did, but they just didn't show it on camera. Which, well, not camera, but they didn't show it. And I was kind of disappointed in that. But altogether, it was still nice. It was still a good thing. I liked it. I really did. So, good job around. Will this anime ever be mentioned? No, it's stay Hidden Gem. No one talked about this show. Nobody did. And it sucks. It really does. But hey, that's what makes them hidden gems. Hidden gems I like to talk about. So anyways, this video is going on long enough, and I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has been Macron on anime. Signing out.